With E3 on the downswing, the Game Awards have become probably the most anticipated place for game announcements and trailers. Let's look at them. As you can see in that small white writing, not actual gameplay. Out of all the trailers that I watched for this, there's very, very little actual gameplay, especially for all the big major releases. Even the games that are coming out very soon that have a lot of gameplay, like Elden Ring, that actually have playable demos, were mostly cinematic. So they're trying to tell a story. In Alan Wake 2, we see that they are going for more of a horror vibe, which means annoying jump scares. But it's very pretty. It's the cinematic part of it. But man, the lighting effects and stuff do look really cool. However, it's not the gameplay. So, I don't know. I never played the first Alan Wake, but this makes me want to go back and give that one a try, seeing as how it really seems to have resonated with people. Hellblade 2. I love the first Hellblade. Very creepy. Very dark. This looks like it's taking what worked in that game and it's just ramping it up. Big sort of epic, creepy body horror type bosses. It'd be interesting to see how they progress the story, as I always felt like the first one felt like somebody who lived in maybe the modern world but was going through sort of like a psychosomatic break. Is that the exact story? I don't know. It's all kind of a blur. But I remember really loving Hellblade. Played it a lot when my dog died. And I was really sad. And it's a very cathartic game for the trauma. But it's a very, very compelling trailer. It looks like this is sort of trying to mimic gameplay. Maybe this is gameplay. I mean, the first Hellblade was quite an astounding looking game. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can pull off big set pieces like this. More dark, creepy worlds. Star Wars Eclipse. This is Star Wars branching out their gaming licenses rather than just giving it to EA, which was a very dark time for the Rebellion. They're just going to license them out to different people. I think this is a fabulous idea. It's going out to Quantic Dream, known for Detroit, Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain. The cinematic here is very sort of like dark Star Wars world, kind of creepy mythology, and really reminds me of Prometheus with the way those characters look that are banging on those taiko drums, and then especially the way one of them emerges from the black goo. Quantic games are really hit or miss. They generally look gorgeous and sometimes have very compelling stories and often get crazy. But I'm just all for other people taking stabs at it, and it could be good. The Elden Ring, coming out February 25th, 2022. A really lore-heavy trailer, I guess, and especially as they're saying it's the collaboration with George R.R. Martin. I love this lady that has the four hands, because in the Dark Souls, in the From Software Miyazaki world, Miyazaki's so good at taking things that look familiar. Hands are familiar, but having four of them, a bit creepy. Later on, there's these hands, but they're these big kind of like bony, hairy hands. You think, yeah, very weird. I'm very excited to explore an open world of From Software design. I think that's going to be ripe for a lot of opportunities that just freak you out. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, cinematic trailer about Space Marines and the Tyranid. These guys could have had StarCraft. They turned down Blizzard. This game looks interesting. The Matrix Awakens. I thought this was a guy impersonating Keanu Reeves. Apparently that is Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. This is written by Matrix creator Lana Wachowski, one of the Wachowski siblings. This is available now. It's a tech demo to show what the Unreal Engine can do. The lighting is done by AI. Apparently, they're going to render this giant world down, in their quote, down to the smallest chain link in a fence at all times, not just when the player is right there looking at it. So there's going to be this chase scene with shooting, and then there's going to be an explorable world you can walk around. I checked that out. It's out now. Download it. I will. Cuphead Dlc. June 30th, 2022, the delicious last course. They do this cool sort of puppetry cinematic trailer. And then they actually have gameplay, which is ironic because the game is, because it's being so meticulously hand-drawn, it almost is sort of like a cinematic experience in itself, but it is actual gameplay. I mean, Cuphead is a triumph in animation and in gaming. So more of it is great. More Sonic. Sonic will never die. Also, the idea of Sonic being this cartoony looking, cheap cartoony looking character in a oddly realistic world. I mean, it looks like he's hanging out in an Unreal Engine tech demo. This is so strange. With this epic music, I guess capitalizing on the movie. We'll make it more like the movie. The movie was good. Also, Sonic 2, the movie, is coming out. Sonic the Movie 2, not Sonic 2 the movie. Although, I think Tails and Knuckles are going to be in it. So, well, Tails is from 2, Knuckles is from 3. So it's Sonic the Movie 2. But look, I think this is going to be like an open world Sonic game. Why don't they just make a Sonic furry sex simulator game and give the Sonic fans what they really want? A Wonder Woman game with absolutely no information. Now here's a big announcement. Silent Hill creator and the composer of Silent Hill working on this game called Slitterhead, which is such a good name. Much more cartoony and over the top than the Silent Hill games. I mean, when I think of Silent Hill 1 and 2, which are the ones I've played, they're like really gritty, kind of film grainy. A lot of that was gritty and grainy because of the low resolution of the PS1 and PS2. But they really leaned into that. And this is like much more colorful, a lot of contrast. Things aren't obscured. It's really campy, kind of gory. A lot of like almost like more anime. So a completely different direction from Silent Hill, but if that's what the creator is into, I always think creators should follow their dreams and chase their passion. I love the name. I love the font. So I'm sold. Forspoken. This looks like a big budget action fantasy, modern game, very cinematic. A lot of particle shooting, flying, big bosses. This is a Square Enix game. That's why it looks so modern and flashy and fantastical. This actually looks pretty interesting. At first, just because from like the style of it, I thought maybe it was an Ubisoft game. Interestingly, only on the PS5 and Windows, not Xbox. So this Luminous Studios that's making the game for Square was founded by Tabata, who worked on Final Fantasy 15. I think he was the director that came in and kind of salvaged everything. And he did a lot of the some of the films he produced, like Kingsglaive for Final Fantasy 15. He did Final Fantasy Type O HD. He was the producer and director. Crisis Core, Kingdom Hearts Coded. All right, so he's into this sort of like high concept dark fantasy Final Fantasy. So probably not going to be for me, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it because it looks pretty interesting. And it's always nice to have like a game that's going to push the hell out of your PS5. And Forspoken is coming up May 24th, 2022. You can pre-order it now. Did you see enough to want to give us money? Nightingale, very elegantly dressed heroes. I'm not sure what time period. Is it like a Victorian, would you say that is? A game about portals and different lost civilizations and tree monsters. Even though this is like just like a perfectly fine cinematic, it's pretty hard to watch this after I just watched the Forspoken trailer. From the cinematic trailer part, I thought this was maybe like just an adventure game, like point and click. I'm like, oh, that could be kind of interesting. Especially with this girl, I thought, oh, is this Siberia? Is that racist? And but then there was like all this first-person shotgun shooting, and this axe. So who knows? Another Dune RTS. I mean, Dune, I think, was arguably one of the very first RTSs ever. This is going to be a 4X strategy. I'm always into a new 4X strategy, and Dune is a fun world to play around with. In the meantime, if you're looking for something to scratch at it, check out Homeworld Desert of... it sounds like Arrakis, but it's Deserts of Karak. It's a great one. Gollum is getting a game. The Lord of the Rings Gollum, the Untold Story. Cinematic trailer. Nothing much to see here. This one, I didn't see that it was Destiny 2 at first. And I was just watching and I'm like, wow, what is this crazy thing? It's like you're on Mars and you're shooting and there's this mumbly mouth FMV protagonist and dark fantasy. And I thought this like crazy things going on. Such a high budget game. And then at the end, I see, it was Destiny 2. And I'm always reminded, Destiny just seems like such a solid game. And every time I've played it, I've had good times with it. And they fixed a lot of the things in Destiny 2 that I wanted fixed, like the Hunter class being better at going up and using melee and being able to warp away. They just feel good. Now, this game, I wasn't quite sure what this was. Some kind of a long Rockstar performance. I mean, this just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I was looking it up. So it's gonna be called Dokev V with like a capital V, so I guess it's like V star, like virtual pop star maybe, or like virtual influencer. A creature collecting open world action adventure, currently being developed by Pearl Abyss. You wouldn't see any of this creature collecting. This is just them dancing. Maybe the kids are the creatures, I don't know. It's going to be an MMO. The game's going to revolve around characters who find Dokebi. Dokebi. Creatures that gain strength from people's dreams and embark on adventures together. They steal your dream power. That's why you can never remember a dream after you wake up. Because one of these kids stole it. They look kind of like the Garbage Pail Kids. I don't like them. But it's probably not for me. Dying Light 2. Stay Human. February 4th, 2022. A very cinematic trailer. Maybe some kind of important purple light. And he has to protect the kid. So going for a Joel and Ellie type thing. Dying Light, the first one, had great parkour. Terrifying game. So maybe they're going to kiss. They might be related. So so now the zombies are able to get into the houses. And some of those zombies have parkour. He sort of looks like a Templar. Maybe more. Sometimes you can guess what the gameplay is going to be from the cinematic trailers. Like, okay, aliens with parkour or interacting with different elements to like help you get away. I thought the first one was so good. It was the thrill of being hunted. Terrifying. A Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady coming out in 2022. Looks like big open city environments. Lots of shooting and jumping and sliding and grapple hooks and lots of traversal. I would assume from this it's going to be a 4-player co-op maybe? 2-player co-op? Because there's lots of different heroes. Looks like a lot of fun. That helicopter blew up pretty fast. But the game's not out yet, so we can't judge times of explosions. But the game does look slow in motion. Yeah, sort of like, what's that game? Sunset Overdrive. Or Infamous. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to PC December 16th. Among Us is going to have a VR game from the I Expect You to Die developers. Ex-Telltale devs are making a Star Trek game based after The Next Generation. Current Telltale is making an Expanse prequel, co-developed with the Life is Strange team. The Zelda-like Tunic is coming March 16th to Xbox and PC. And there's an Annapurna game called Thirsty Suitors, which is a very Scott Pilgrim looking game. Battling your exes, disappointing your parents, highly stylized, mundane things from real life. What'd you think of the show? I didn't watch it. It's 3 hours long, and I was doing a music gig. So I was happy to watch the trailers. I'd say I'm most excited about, I think Dying Light 2 has good potential, even though they didn't show very much. I mean, a Star Trek game from the ex-Telltale people, the people who are leaving Telltale, and it being, maybe holding on to the values of what made the first Telltale games good. That's pretty exciting to me. Tunic still looks great. Destiny 2, I'm happy they're going to keep going. Maybe I'll play that. Forspoken, a big-ass Square game. they're always worth taking a look at. The the Toyama game, Slitterhead, that could be great. Cuphead looks pretty great. The Matrix thing, Elden Ring, Star Wars being with different developers, I like that. Hellblade 2, and even Alan Wake. Pretty strong show of trailers. After a year of gaming that felt like not a lot of games came out, it looks like 2022 is going to be quite exciting. Bye.